This week on The Gadget Show, I get to grips with one of life's most satisfying gadgets, the toaster. Jason explains Bluetooth. What is it? What's it for? And why is it called Bluetooth? Tom Dunmore tries out some of the latest digital cameras. And we explain how to network your home computers. But first, Suzi.
"80 years ago this year, the television was invented. Nearly 40 years ago, colour came onto the screen. Now it's time for the next television revolution. It's going to be the gadget event of the year and will change the way we view our favourite box forever. Within the next few months, all of us will have the opportunity to experience cinema-quality pictures in our own home, because at last, we're going to get high-definition television. The launch of the shuttle Discovery back in 1998 was the first high-definition broadcast in the States. In Japan, terrestrial TV started broadcasting in it in 2003. Now, it's coming to the UK. And if everyone pulls their finger out in time, then this summer, we could be watching the World Cup in high definition. Go to any large TV retailer and you can feast on the wonder that is high definition. Last December, 400 lucky people got a taster in their own homes in Telewest's trial, but soon we'll all have the opportunity to experience it when Sky launch their glorious 7 high-definition channels. Every TV picture is made up of hundreds of different lines. High definition has far more lines than our current broadcasts, which means it has 4 times more pixels than the TV picture that you're watching now. So it'll be 4 times sharper and 4 times more detailed. Good news for us, bad news for any Hollywood diva who's got a slight skin rash, because now we'll be able to see any flaw in perfectly defined detail. We thought that you might like to see how these lovely, beautiful, gorgeous, amazing high-def pictures get into your telly. So, when Sky Television offered the Gadget Show a sneak preview of their high-def operation, we were straight down the M4. The transmission suite is Sky's equivalent of mission control. It's here that the pre-launch high-definition tests take place. All broadcasters experimenting with high-def have had to change the way they make TV. New high-definition cameras, high-def tape machines, and HD outside broadcast trucks have all had to be bought in, and one of the main problems has been that high-def pictures are so crammed full of detail that they take up masses more space when they broadcast. This has forced Sky to upgrade their satellites and adopt the latest technology.
All digital content that's broadcast today, whether it's on Sky or digital terrestrial or cable, is broadcast in something called MPEG-2. It's a way of taking a large amount of data, which is effectively what a picture is, and squeezing it down. There's a new version of that. The one that we are using is called MPEG-4. It allows us to squeeze that information that much further.
So, the technology is there, but are the programs?
All of the HD channels are actually already up live on the satellite. Consumers can't see it yet because the boxes aren't available.
Once Sky have launched, then others will be racing to join in. Most major broadcasters already shoot a lot of their programmes in high definition, and the BBC are starting broadcast trials this summer. But it's unlikely that we'll get a full high-def service from everyone until at least 2012. Of course, to enjoy HD pictures in all their glory, you're going to need an HD-ready TV. But which ones are good? Are there any dodgy ones to avoid? And would we make any recommendations? Well, if you're getting a little excited at the prospect of high-def TV but don't know what to go for, stick around. Because later on, I'll be putting 3 of our favourites to the test and enlisting the help of Jason and John to try and choose the Gadget Show's favourite high-definition TV.
Right, now it's time for another of our regular guides designed to help you get the most from your gadgets. This week, how to network your home computers wirelessly. Computers are now almost as common around the home as TVs. In fact, half of British households that are online now own at least 2 computers, though often only one of them is linked to the internet, which can cause problems when members of the family all want to use the internet at the same time. The answer is to network your computers so they can all access the internet, along with shared files, music, photos, and even a printer. So how do you set up your wireless network? First up, get yourself a wireless router. This one cost us £99 and came with a wireless USB adapter. If, like most people, you get your broadband down the phone, your router and telephone both plug into this microfilter switch, which allows you to surf the net and use the phone at the same time. The switch plugs into the main phone socket in the wall, and the USB adapter plugs into the back of your computer. Now set up your wireless network using the software that comes with the router and give it a name. Unless your machines already have built-in wireless cards, you'll need one or a USB adapter for the other PCs you want to connect together wirelessly. Once the software is installed, a scan will find and connect your new wireless network. Voila! Wireless broadband. Windows XP is designed for home networking, so it's easy to configure your computers. Click on Settings, Control Panel, Network Setup Wizard and choose the Set up a Home or Office Network tab. Then just follow the on-screen instructions to set up the master PC. Once the main computer's done, run the Network Setup Wizard on the other computers that you want to add to your network, and your PC should all find each other. Now it's just a case of choosing the files and folders that you want to share. Right-click on the folder and check Sharing and Security. Then select Share this folder on the network. Now all the family can listen to your music and see your holiday snaps. But remember, if you want others to be able to change your files as well as read them, then you must tick the box that allows network users to change my files. But beware, the rest of the family can then delete these documents too, so be careful. Now all that's left is to set up your printer. First, the printer needs to be enabled for sharing. Just click on the printer icon in the control panel and select Sharing. Share the printer and give it a name. On each of the other networked PCs, go into the control panel again, select Printer, and this time add a printer. Selecting Network Printer will mean your computer will automatically find the one that's shared. Your home is now networked, which means no more moans, groans and queues. Well, for the internet anyway.
Compatibility, or the lack of it, it's got to be one of the most frustrating, most annoying things about modern gadgets. Nothing seems to work with anything else. If you've got an iPod, you can't use the WMA format. If you've got anything other than an iPod, the massive library available at iTunes is useless to you. DVDs aren't much better.
There are actually 7 different types of recordable DVD. And why do you think that is?
Just to make it difficult for us.
And how many times have you tried to open an attachment that's been sent to you, only for your PC to tell you that it's in the wrong format? And of course, most of us don't buy a mobile phone, then choose a network.
Oh no.
Usually your phone is only compatible with one network. Swap to another provider,
and your old phone is little better than a lump of scrap. It's enough to drive you round the bloody bend. But you know, it doesn't have to be that way. It is wholly possible for all the tech companies to come together and agree on one universal format that works for all of their creations. In fact, they've already done it. In the late 90s, they all sat round a big table, had a nice big pot of tea with a lovely plate of biscuits, and they all agreed to share one technology. And it was Bluetooth.
It links your phone to your wireless earpiece. It links your computer to your wireless keyboard and mouse. It lets you connect your laptop to the internet via your mobile. No matter what gadget it is, the Bluetooth they use is the same all around the world. Bluetooth was originally invented by the chaps at Ericsson in Sweden in 1994. They named it after a Viking king, Harald Bluetooth, who got his name because of his fondness for blueberries, which stained his teeth. King Harald is famous for uniting the warring tribes of Scandinavia. Likewise, Bluetooth unifies different technologies. So you see, it's not such a silly name after all. In 1998, Ericsson got together with loads of other companies to regulate the use and development of Bluetooth. And with so many heavyweights involved, it became that rarest of things, an industry standard.
So, what is Bluetooth? Well, it's a relatively weak radio signal that can transfer data wirelessly over short distances. Between, say, your mobile phone and an earpiece, or your computer and its keyboard.
The problem is that TV remote controls, baby monitors, microwaves, Wi-Fi, cordless phones, and all sorts of other devices are sending their signals out into the same space as Bluetooth.
It's a pretty crowded band with lots of possibilities for interference and mixed up signals.
But Bluetooth gets around this quite cleverly. Once a pair of devices has established a connection, they then randomly change frequencies 1,600 times a second in unison. So any time they end up on the same frequency as, say, a crying baby, the clash only lasts 1/1600th of a second. And that's not enough to cause a problem. Clever those Swedes, aren't they?
The fact is that Bluetooth is a thriving technology, and thousands of companies all around the world are forever finding new and innovative uses for the simple method of linking things.
There's the stuff you might expect, like wireless stereo headphones or Oakley sunglasses with a Bluetooth headset built in. Then there's more inventive uses, like this 300 quid car security system. If it can't detect the owner's phone with Bluetooth when the car's on the move, it alerts the police. They can then track the car or even immobilise it through the GSM mobile phone network. A more frivolous use is this little massaging device for ladies called the Toy.
That's really good. Fantastic bit of kit.
Connect it to your phone via Bluetooth and it scans your inbox for text messages that begin with a certain code. When it finds one, it starts to massage. And apparently, it's got other uses.
Huh? Ugh! So, what of the future? Well, our sources tell us that it won't be long until we've got ultra-wideband Bluetooth. That's Bluetooth capable of transmitting 1.5 megs of data, and that's enough to stream high-quality video.
And even sooner, Bluetooth should allow us to have something called email on the fly. Your phone, your laptop, and your earpiece are all connected via a Bluetooth link.
An email arrives at your 3G phone. Your phone sends it to your laptop, which recognises it as coming from an important source. So it converts the text in the email to voice, which it then sends to your earpiece.
Dear Jason, your report about Bluetooth is now ending. Please leave the shot.
Now on the Gadget Show, it's time to look at one of the most unassuming yet satisfying gadgets ever invented. The toaster. Apply radiant heat directly to a slice of bread, and when the bread's surface temperature reaches about 155 degrees centigrade, a chemical change known as the Maillard reaction begins. Sugars and starches start to caramelize. They turn brown and take on intense flavours. Apply the heat evenly, get the temperature and the timing perfect, and you have a tasty piece of toast. Underdo it, and obviously you're short-changed on flavour. Overdo it, and the sugars and underlying grain fibres start turning into carbon, resulting in what's commonly known as burnt toast. The toaster's practically as old as domestic electricity. A British firm, Crompton & Company, launched one in 1893, but its iron heating elements tended to melt and start fires. In 1909, though, the American General Electric Company patented a new kind of toaster with elements made out of nichrome, a combination of nickel and chrome, which stayed safely heated up for long periods. It was a great success, and from that point on, toasters became a feature of almost every household. By modern standards, toasters are very simple pieces of machinery, and you can now easily buy them for under a tenner. But why settle for an ordinary toaster when you could buy an iconic one? The most gadget-credible toaster out there is, strangely perhaps, one of the oldest designs around. The Dualit toaster is a British institution, created by a German, one Max Gort Barton, who moved to London in 1939. The design has changed rather a lot over the years. The first Dualit looked like a brick, and the current shape actually only dates from the 1980s. Originally designed for use in commercial kitchens, this simple yet somehow sophisticated product became popular for home use too. It's quite manual by modern standards. You select whether you want one or both slots heated with this switch here. Then you drop the bread into the top and turn the timer to the desired number of minutes. The trademark Pro Heat elements coated with an unbreakable membrane switch off after the set period. You then tilt the toast up using this lever. With that timeless design, it's an asset to the landscape of any kitchen. Is it really the best toaster? And is it worth the considerable asking price of around £120? To find out, we're going to compare it against a couple of other machines. First up, this Swan toaster. It looks just like a toaster should do. It recently came out top in a Which magazine test, and the best thing about it is the price, just 25 quid, yet it's still got all the buttons and controls you'd expect on a toaster. Next, something more avant-garde, the Trabo Block Toaster, winner of a Wallpaper Magazine Design Award, no less. It's a perfect cube. A red LED shows it's on, and if you see your toast burning, press this button to pop it up. You can use it in conventional automatic pop-up mode, or put your smaller pieces of bread into these drop-in baskets. Disappointingly, this large handle isn't actually a timer, just a conventional browning control. But for such an obviously designer toaster, it's quite cheap, 35 quid. To rate our toasters, we have an expert, Clive Martin. He's head of bread at the College of Food in Birmingham. No mean establishment. When I bumped into Raymond Blanc on the train once, he told me it was Britain's leading food college. We tried the Dualit first. It took 4 minutes to do its work. But surprisingly, when the toast came out, Clive wasn't that impressed.
We've got a very pale brown colour, but it's not uniform, is it? And you notice around the edge here as well, it's still we're still missing some colour. And we've got some almost scorch marks down here.
So that's almost overdone in there.
Yes.
Overdone at the sides and underdone at the bottom. Well, it tastes good, but I think that's the bread.
The toast actually tasted a little too dry. A problem undoubtedly eased by the lashings of butter that Clive gleefully applied to every slice. But we were sure we could do better. On then to the Trabo. The Trabo took an amazingly long time to toast the bread.
Would you ever consider having a bread-making machine?
Yes, why not?
Ah! After 5 minutes, something's happened.
Right.
Good. That
At
is
long
5
last.
minutes, is it? Yeah.
And what do you know?
Oh.
Even after all that time, it still hadn't done the job properly, only toasting half of one side and hardly warming the other. Unsurprisingly, Clive wasn't that impressed with the taste either.
More of a bread texture, more of the bread flavour, but we're losing the toast flavour, aren't we? That of the crispness and the because we haven't got the colouring, we haven't got the flavour coming through either.
There's too much just pure bread in it.
The Trabo doesn't appear to be much more than a pretty face. So time to move on to our last toaster, the 25 quid Swan.
Wow.
It was the quickest to toast the bread, and at first glance it appeared to have done the job perfectly.
Well, that's got to be a more overall colour, isn't it?
Well, certainly it doesn't miss many bits, a little bit around the bottom, but vastly more even than the other two.
And the taste?
It's good.
That's got a good
It's
eat.
got more flavour to it than
than the other two.
I prefer this. Clive, I think we decided on these three that the winner is...
The Red Swan, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to double-check our decision, we sought the opinion of a focus group made up of Toast's biggest fans, students. Not just any students, of course. These are some of Birmingham College of Food's finest. And after half an hour playing with all three of our toasters, they'd come to the same unanimous decision.
Right, so you've done a good few slices with each. Which one do you think produces the best toast?
This one.
So, the £25 Swan is now the Gadget Show's favourite toaster.
Now it's time for our regular look at some of the coolest gadgets around. This week, the latest in digital cameras. Here's Tom Dunmore with the critical list.
These days, it's hard to move without somebody trying to take a picture of you on their mobile. And with phones increasingly sporting high-resolution cameras with flashes and autofocus, it's easy to see why some doommongers are suggesting the end of the camera is nigh. But digital cameras are fighting back with a high-tech armoury of cutting-edge weapons that'll ensure they stay one step ahead of the camera phone. Kodak recently announced that it was going to stop making film cameras altogether so that it could focus its attentions on digital, which has allowed it to produce some innovative cameras like this EasyShare 570. What's really great about this camera is that it features two separate lenses. In fact, it's the first digital camera in the world to have two lenses. Now, why is that a good feature? Well, one of these lenses is a standard zoom, but the other one is a wide-angle lens, which is great for capturing excellent landscape shots or portraits of large groups of your friends. Between the two of them, they offer a massive 5 times optical zoom, which is incredible for a camera of this size. And because it's Kodak, it's also dead easy to use. This is the Samsung Digimax i6, and while it might look like any other 6-megapixel compact camera, it's actually the world's first portable media player on a Digicam. That means you can transfer MP3 music from your computer and listen to it, or even watch MPEG-4 videos on the 2.5-inch screen. Of course, all that multimedia functionality has its drawbacks. The more media you've got on your camera, the less pictures you can store on it. So it's definitely worth investing in a big memory card to go with it. Canon's digital Ixus range has long been a favourite of photographers because it combines style with great picture quality. But the latest addition to the range adds something new to the mix: Wi-Fi. This allows you to wirelessly send pictures from your camera to your PC, or even control the camera remotely from your computer. But these cameras have their problems. First of all, Wi-Fi is notoriously power hungry, so you might well find that your battery drains long before you'd like it to. And secondly, these cameras will connect directly to the internet to upload pictures. You have to go via a PC, which kind of renders the Wi-Fi pretty redundant. After all, it's hardly difficult to plug a cable into your computer now, is it? But the biggest growth area in digital cameras these days is SLRs. This is my favourite, the Nikon D50. It's been around for a while, but you can pick it up for less than £500, including the lens, and it takes really good quality pictures. And it also has the sort of manual controls you simply can't get on compact cameras. But even SLRs have their problems. Because they have mirrors inside, you have to use the optical viewfinder to frame your pictures before you can then review them on the LCD screen. But that's something that Olympus has overcome with the E330. Thanks to an extra image chip inside, this is the first digital SLR that will allow you to use the LCD screen as a live viewfinder. And thanks to this pivoting mechanism, you no longer even have to shoot from eye level. It just goes to show that technology is still evolving, and digital cameras are far from dead.
Time now to return to the subject of high-definition TV. Its launch on Sky in the next few months will be the most important gadget event in Britain this year. And rightly so, because the clarity and quality will be like nothing we've seen before. If you haven't seen high-def pickies yet, you can go to the Gadget Show website at gadgetshow.5.tv. There you'll find a list of links to sites where you can see for yourself what all the fuss is about. So, HD is coming, and of course, you want to see it on your telly. Well, first of all, you're going to have to lose the old faithful cathode ray tube. Despite the fact that they still offer the best pictures in standard definition, they just don't do HD. What you need is a flat screen, LCD or plasma, and there are literally hundreds to choose from. But be warned, they're not all HD ready. Those that are should have an HD ready sticker on them, but it's also worth checking at the back for an HDMI or DVI socket, because without one of these, you're not going to get any HD pictures into your shiny new box. Also, we think that size matters. Go for at least a 32-incher, but obviously the bigger, the better. But don't forget, you will still need to be able to open and close your living room door. And when you spend all that money, you want to be able to hear it properly. So it's worth investing in a 5.1 surround sound system. The fact is, though, that the quality of plasma and LCD tellies varies hugely, which is why we're testing out 3 of our favourite sets with a high-def tape played from a professional high-def machine. The Sony Bravia is the first of our contenders. It's got integrated digital, so you can watch Freeview without a set-top box. But at 40 inches, it's the smallest set in our test. Sony have always been at the forefront of HD development, and next year's PlayStation 3 will be capable of playing high-definition games. Next up, a 42-inch Hitachi, the outsider in the trial. Hitachi make 100,000 high-def flat screens every month, but we need more. So by the end of 2007, they're trebling production to 3.5 million a year. Finally, we turn to one of the founders of HD TV, LG. They created the first HD decoder, which allowed us to see high-def pictures in all their glory. We're testing their 42-inch LP1D, which includes their revolutionary XD engine, a multi-million-pound development which apparently makes the pictures look more like the real thing. Now, we think all 3 are well worth considering, but which is best? Which will deserve the title of the Gadget Show's favourite high-def TV? Well, to find out, I'm enlisting the help of TV's favourite odd couple for some tea and TV. Whilst I tape over the TV's logos and label them as numbers 1, 2 and 3, Jason and John do their best impressions of 70s cop show detectives. I said come for tea, not bring your tea.
What?
Come on.
Oh,
Right, a simple test. I want you to talk me through each of these televisions, what you think.
OK.
All right, here we go. Number 1, then. Number 1 is actually the Sony, but remember, the boys don't know that.
It's a bit pixelated, it's not smooth movement, looks a bit anemic when it's not actually on graphics.
As soon as you get to the natural history footage, I think it's a bit grainy.
Next, it's the Hitachi with the same set of natural history pictures.
I actually prefer the
Well, that looks
colours.
better.
It
That
does.
looks
I
better.
prefer the
Those
colours on
graphics
there.
look a lot better. And the movement's smoother. So, I mean, it's almost more like a conventional telly in that sense.
And the writing, feel everything. The writing at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, little pixelated around the edge.
It's almost, that's more like a telly, that's more like a computer monitor.
Look at the top.
So the Hitachi's colours go down well, but the logos and writing are blurry. Can the LG go one better?
So first things first, my immediate response.
I think it looks a bit washed out.
It does look a little bit like it's got a sort of grey filter over the top.
And the blue looks richer on the others, the red looks redder.
It's just not... That was really vivid, wasn't it, in the middle? Do you remember? It was really glorious, the colour.
It's better than 1, it's smoother. But I've got a feeling I couldn't live with it.
Yeah, there was a lot of...
That's a question between the 2 of them.
Yeah, come and join us.
Because they're all high-definition sets.
Yeah.
Right.
I want you to tell me which you think was the best set.
I think number 1's too artificial for me, too much like a computer monitor. I think the colours on number 3 are a bit dull, although it's very sharp. And so I think I could live with number 2 most.
Jason, which one could you live with?
Well, you see, interestingly, John mentions the sharpness on both 1 and 3. Number 1 is out. It just doesn't seem to punch the colours at you. Number 2 is a kind of assault on the eyes. Number 3, I have to say I like because I'm convinced by the clarity of the text. But it's fair to say that if I'm watching that kind of footage, glorious, widescreen, colourful footage, I think number 2 just has it.
So it's our Hitachi underdog that comes out favourite, with the LG a close second and the Sony a surprising last place. But none were picture perfect. What the test highlighted was the fact that flat-screen tellies are still not good enough to show high-def pictures to their full potential. Despite this, we'd still opt for good quality flat-screen with high-def pickies over standard definition any day.
Should you buy an HDR TV? Yes, there's a brand new TV format on the block.